Hello, everybody. Zon gets 134 here.
And as always, I'm Average Joe Squad.
And welcome to another episode of Remember the Hyphen, the show where we look at comic books, movies, and everything in between. So sorry this is a little late, but this is the first time we've actually had a chance to film this. We've come to the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Which, it's hard to believe that was like, we did the first one, what, like 2 months ago?
Couple weeks. Oh, for WandaVision, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a month and a half ago.
Yeah. Well, that more just because, like, first thing in WandaVision was 9 episodes, whereas this was 6. So yeah, and we're all gonna go into this as assuming this is only this season. Apparently at the Oscars or the Academy Awards, it was
Emmys.
What's that?
Emmys.
At the Emmys, it was entered as a drama instead of a limited series like WandaVision was. So this might be a 2-season, especially with the fact that it's been established there's going to be a Cap 4 with Sam as Falcon, or as Captain America. So, yeah, this might actually end up being like another season. But as far as we're concerned, we're going into this as originally this was only 1 season. So if when we come back and we do season 2, no, we didn't know that was coming or not. Also, spoilers.
Spoilers, man. Fuck you. I'll see your work. Fucking leave it.
Am I supposed to be Sakuramiko? And I go, fuck you. But, yeah, so, spoilers, of course, as we're going to go into every episode of the show, like we did with WandaVision. But, before then, we'll give you our overall thoughts, and we'll go from there. So, I think both you and I can agree this was fucking phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, from the first episode on, man, I was hooked.
Yeah,
It was just like WandaVision, where it's like every Friday I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Time for another fucking episode.
I will admit, I probably enjoy this a little bit more than WandaVision just because of 2 reasons. A, I'm a huge Cap guy. Especially the MCU Cap. And B, this is like this was a lot like my favorite of the 3 Cap films, which is Winter Soldier. Where it's basically Jason Bourne, but like Jason Bourne's in a colorful Star Spangled Banner costume and throws shields at people. So I will admit I probably enjoyed that a little bit more. You probably enjoyed WandaVision a little bit more than this, I would assume. Because you really liked WandaVision.
I liked both pretty equally, honestly.
Okay. But like I only say that like it's like a very small margin, because like I liked both too. It's just of the 2 of these, I probably will say I enjoyed my time with Falcon and the Winter Soldier a little more. But again, mostly just because like these are characters I really like. Nothing against Wanda or Vision, just like I was already invested in these characters basically. Your thoughts?
I kind of went into this, like I said, I was coming into it pretty hot off of WandaVision, which I enjoyed a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Although, admittedly, I think the ending left a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth.
I mean, it did for reasons we covered in our review. So,
Yeah,
but
we won't go into that.
Kind of going into this, I kind of had the idea that, they had proven they could do a Marvel TV show on this format and, like, it'd be really, really good.
Yeah.
So I was kind of curious what they were going to do with a show that kind of had a little bit more of a budget and kind of was a little more back to formula.
Yeah.
Versus, like, WandaVision was kind of...
Back to formula?
Sometimes. You just have to do things. But get back to what I was saying. They were kind of going back to the more traditional Marvel kind of style of product we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
So I was kind of interested if they were going to be able to pull it off on a small screen. I'm assuming that, and I think it's pretty obvious, this had a hell of a lot more of a budget.
Oh, absolutely. Like from just the visual effects.
This had a budget.
Yeah, this had a budget. Like from Sam's wings and as Falcon to the CG to make Bucky's arm to just like the different like
the fight scenes, the choreography,
the shots on location.
Yeah,
like this had so much more of a budget than WandaVision.
Yeah. And so like I said, going into the first episode, I was really kind of interested to see how they were going to fare with it. Was it going to be kind of mediocre? Was it going to be good but could be better? Was it going to be excellent? And I was really pleasantly surprised to find that it was like, I thought it was excellent the entire way through.
Let me tell you what.
From the first episode, I was like, damn, this feels like I'm watching a movie. You know, it's not like I'm watching a TV show where I can tell there was a budget. This was like, I felt like I was watching a movie.
Yeah. I honestly thought this was going to be like basically Captain America 4, which would just be like Captain America 4 _ Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But like, I think for me, what sold this was going to be really good was that first fight scene with Sam with the helicopter.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because like, the CG is so great. And the choreography and just the way it was shot,
the cinematography, like the scoring, everything was just excellent.
It really felt like I was watching a movie, which I whatever. Say what you will about like Agents of Shield, or like some of Marvel's other attempts at doing a TV show. I think this here is where it really feels like I'm watching something of equal caliber to the films. That's not to say I don't think WandaVision was equal caliber, but like, given how like that show had such a smaller budget, because I don't think they expected WandaVision to do as well as it did. Given that like Wanda has barely had any sort of presence in the MCU outside of like Age of Ultron and Infinity War and Endgame, and even then in Endgame she's only really in it for like 5 seconds. So like I can understand why it probably got less of a budget. Like, I'm pretty sure most of their budget went to, like, this, Loki, and probably Armor Wars, just because, like, that's going to be so much more...
The more really sci-fi, like, the CGI-intensive stuff, obviously. Yeah.
Speaking of, look forward, we're going to be doing a review of the book Armor Wars here soon. Probably not super soon, but soonish. Mostly because I feel like I'm going to have... Like, I kind of want to do the book just because mostly because I wanted you to, like, see the book just so you had an idea of what we were going to get into with Armor Wars and what differences there will be, especially because... Well, I'll save that for when we do the review, because I have some issues with the Armor Wars TV show just as a concept, given the fact that Tony's dead. But yeah, like this really... I mean, granted, I had some pretty high expectations going into it. Probably a little bit more so than you, but just because I already was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be like a Cap show, but with Bucky and Sam, and it's gonna be great. And thankfully, I was not disappointed. Because I did kind of worry I was gonna be like, oh, WandaVision was so good, like the next one's probably gonna be shit or something. Thankfully, I was not. Like you, I was like, oh, this is really, really good. I actually kind of didn't expect the politics stuff to be into it, which I don't know why I didn't, because it's a Captain America show.
Yeah.
But like I didn't think it was
the way they handled it was really, really well done. They weren't too heavy-handed with it, but they didn't skimp on it, I feel either. I
think really the most that it was really heavy-handed, and I'm not even saying like I think it was heavy-handed, was more or less the stuff with Isaiah, just because Isaiah was just flat out like.
And it's like someone with the background in history.
Yeah.
Like I watching that, I was like, like, okay, we've entered my realm now. Welcome to the uncomfortable parts of my field.
No, to be speaking of, I was completely blown away that they had Isaiah Bradley in this. For those of you who don't know, in the early 2000s, particularly around the time Young Avengers was coming out, because his grandson is actually Patriot of the Young Avengers, who is in this show. He's not Patriot, obviously, but like a lot of the Young Avengers, they have them inserted, but like it's really nebulous why they. I mean, granted, I get why they inserted them, because like with WandaVision, like Speed and Wiccan need to be kind of important because they're part of Wanda's breakdown in the show and in the comics. But here, like I did not expect like his grandson to be here. I figured they were just going to do Isaiah. But basically, Isaiah Bradley was one of the many experiments by the U.S. government to try and recreate the super soldier serum. Granted, I don't know if this is the same as his story, but basically, he was experimented on, and they were experimenting using a very unstable form of it, and most of the people they experimented on, except for Isaiah, eventually were killed by it. And basically...
So that seems already pretty close to what was in the show.
Yeah.
So they probably obeyed the source material on that a little close.
Yeah. But basically, Isaiah is known as the forgotten Captain America. And I think around Original Sin, they really did go into the fact that, like, Isaiah was pretty much wiped from history because of the U.S. government. Which is weird, because I do know that there was like a comic image of him, like, wearing like a Captain America outfit and even using like a shield. So I don't know if that's like a current retcon for Isaiah, or if that's always been kind of established with Isaiah.
With the continuity anymore, it's really hard to.
Well, especially because before Cap was unthawed, there was like another Captain America that was just roaming around with a fake Bucky, and then sometimes it was Rick Jones as Bucky, and then of course you get into like all the different people that came after Cap, but no, I honestly thought the politics was really woven very seamlessly into it. Like I said, I only think Isaiah was kind of on the nose, but just because like. How can you not?
With that kind of a topic material, you have to be.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you kind of risk underselling it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then people will be like, well, you just used it as a plot point. Like, in this, it was pretty powerful. You know, it was a very... I mean, as someone who, like, I didn't know about that part of Cap's history, because I'm still kind of a newcomer to Cap material, but, like, seeing that was like, okay, yeah, like, you got my attention, you know? Like, what's going on here?
What's sad for me is that we don't even get to really see, like, Cap's reaction to Isaiah like we did in the books, where even, like, Cap is, like, they experimented on people to make another me. There's, like him and, like, Nuke are probably, like, some of the more messed up, like, attempts at recreating the super soldier serum. For those of you who don't know Nuke was originally a Vietnam veteran. I think now he's an Afghanistan veteran, but... because of sliding time scale, where basically, yet again, he was another super soldier. Instead, they're giving him pills that are colored red, white, and blue, like the flag. White and blue make him docile.
Stripe.
You mean flag, like the
flag, whatever the fuck it is. Which in that awful movie
coming in July, our Captain America retrospective. we still have to watch Death Too Soon.
I might just watch it myself and then live react to you via text. Like, this is fucking awful.
To be fair, I think it's a little bit better than...
It's got to be better than what I watched, man, because that first one was pretty terrible.
But basically, Nuke is given a red pill. It makes him, like, berserk. I know this because well, he's been in a couple things, but the most prominent thing I know him in is when he was in the Daredevil story of Born Again, because Kingpin somehow gets a hold of government contracts to get Nuke out there to try and kill Daredevil. Which, in my opinion, is kind of fucking overkill.
It's Kingpin. Are you really surprised?
Well, it actually it results in the comics in him losing his empire for a while.
Does it really?
Yeah, it actually. Well, because he keeps spending all this money trying to kill Matt Murdock, and like basically his lieutenants are like, "You keep wasting money trying to kill this one guy. We're like losing money hand over fist." And then Kingpin kills one of them just to be like, "This is what happens when you don't listen to me."
Sounds about right.
Yeah, but yeah, like there's a lot of like really dark history to them, like trying to recreate the super soldier serum,
which makes sense because again, knowing what I know about history, like there was not to dive too much into this, and obviously like trying to spare some of the more gruesome details because I don't want to upset any or trigger anybody.
No, like
there was a lot of similar shit that Marvel definitely based that on, like the typhus experiments and shit like that.
Or like
there was a lot of stuff like
the
that.
The LSD experiments on like CIA agents, which is how we got
with MK Ultra.
Yeah, which is how we got like the Sin Eater for Spider-Man.
Yeah, there's a lot of a weird messed up shit like that in history, which we just don't talk about because the U.S. government doesn't like to talk about that kind of shit.
No, I don't think many governments like to talk about that sort of shit with their history.
Well, and in cases like MK Ultra, they destroyed all the documentation for it, so we don't know what the extent of what they did.
But like, Chris, granted, like I will admit, like there's a lot of that to the super soldier stuff. Not nearly as much as like the Ultimate Universe, where like even like Hulk was a product of trying to recreate the super soldier serum. Actually, I want to say in some versions of Norman Osborn's origin in the mainstream Marvel universe, he created the Goblin formula as a way of him trying to recreate the super soldier serum. Which,
so the only thing Ultimate I've read is Spider-Man.
Well, Ultimate, yeah, that is definitely, but originally, as I think Stan and Ditko wrote it, he was just trying to make a strength enhancement formula. It wasn't like he was, but like I think later on they retconned it in that he was a government contract to make the super soldier serum. And to be fair, this show does a lot of Captain America deep cuts, particularly with the guy who is the new Captain America in this show. Well, okay, he's not as much of a deep cut, but I'm sure a lot of people didn't know who the fuck's U.S. agent was until the show came out.
Which I didn't really have a lot of info on him. I knew who he was. I knew he existed, but it was kind of one of those areas where it's like, that was kind of like I had to like do a little bit of research after that happened. Like, okay, let me get where they're coming from with this.
The fact that the terrorist group in this is called the Flag Smashers, which is based on an actual Marvel Cap villain named Flag Smasher. The Power Broker, which is actually there's a villain called Power Broker, and then there's like a group called the Power Brokers. There's like 7 different Power Brokers. I actually looked this up, like, and basically their whole thing is they make super soldiers. Literally, Taskmaster is technically, I think, a project of trying to make a super soldier.
Yeah.
Black Widow to some extent.
Now, I not to get a little off topic from what you're talking about, obviously still on topic with the show, but I've been having these thoughts since the first episode, and I've been doing some thinking.
Yeah.
And I kind of just wanted to get your thoughts on it. Would you say this show is largely about Steve Rogers' like legacy?
Oh, absolutely.
That, my thinking was, because I thought about this. You have Sam, who is the guy Steve picked to succeed him as Cap. He was obviously friends with Cap prior to that. You have Bucky, who was Cap's best friend in World War II, and the guy that he risked it all to go back and save.
Yeah.
Then you have Sharon, who in this universe, is still dealing with the fallout of helping Steve in. Yeah. Was it Civil War or was it
Civil War? Civil War and Age of Ultron.
So she's still dealing with the fallout of that, and then you have Zemo, who's trying to destroy the super soldier stuff that is, more or less famous because of Steve.
Yeah.
So it's like everything in the show was really connected to Steve Rogers' legacy.
Oh, absolutely. From the fact that we open on Sam donating the shield to the Smithsonian and going once again back to the Captain America display. Like, the fact that you see, like, stuff from the first Avenger film. This is all about Cap's legacy for both the good and the bad. Kind of as to say this is a story about both Cap and America for good and for the bad. And what it means to keep fighting the fight that Cap was made for. I definitely think this was very much about legacy and what it means to inherit that legacy, especially when sometimes the world itself may not want that legacy inherited. From the Flag Smashers goal to even Sam himself being like, was I the right choice for this? He's like, I actually give Sam a lot of credit here, because, like, when he donated to the Smithsonian, I knew he didn't think the government would take that shield. And granted, I was kind of like Sam.
Sam, can we think about this for a fucking minute?
Yeah. I mean, granted...
It's technically a weapon.
Yeah.
The U.S. doesn't just leave weapons laying around.
Yeah, but, like, I do at least give Sam credit. It's coming from a place where he's like, I don't know if I'm really the right person.
Am I the right guy for this?
Yeah.
Kind of going back to how it was at the end of Endgame, it feels like it's somebody else's.
Or to kind of go from another comic that's kind of like this Batman Battle for the Cowl, where Dick Grayson even, for a lot of that book, weighs with the idea of should he become Batman after Bruce's death, which eventually he ultimately decides, yes, I'm going to do so because Gotham needs a Batman, and I'm the only one capable and that wants to do it. Because I think Tim at that point was like, no, I don't want to be Batman. You need to be Batman because, like, you are his prodigal son. And
which I really need to read that run.
Like, as much as I give Grant Morrison bullshit, like, his run with Dick as Batman is really solid, and it really hits what it would be like for Dick to be Batman, especially after Bruce's death. Not like, say, when he was Batman after Bane broke Batman's back and Bruce kind of recovered for a while. Like, this is a Dick who's like, I have to be the savior of Gotham now, and I don't really know if I'm capable of doing that. just to give you an idea, there's a really great scene where Dick comes back from like crime fighting, and because he's more acrobatic in his combat than Bruce is. The cape keeps getting in his way, and a couple of thugs get away, and he starts brooding to Alfred, like, the stupid cape's in my way, and I love it because Alfred looks at him, he's just like, and Dick's like, what is it, Alfred? I never thought I'd see you brooding in that outfit, sir. It's such a great scene. It really hits home. Like, even Alfred's like, I know this is hard for you, but like, I'm really proud of you stepping up like this. It really, and I think this here gets it really well because it deals with so much with Sam, like not even just someone being Captain America, but as a black man who is taking up this mantle. It's why his discussions with Isaiah like are so powerful. That especially that line where Isaiah's like, they're never going to let a black man carry that shield, which I think is what finally makes Sam realize, I have to carry that shield because the world tells me I shouldn't. And if Cap, when the world tells you to move, you say you move right back to him. Because that is Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
If you tell me something is the right thing to do, Steve looks at you and be like, I don't know about that. Like that's why I want, like the last battle where
I'm through asking for forgiveness and I'm done asking for permission.
Yeah, like that is Cap to a T. Like that, and like Cap, like if you knock Cap down, he gets right back the fuck up. Which Sam
we saw him get up against an entire fucking army.
Yeah, no, he's like, oh, I could do this all day. Cinches the shield. I'm like, that's Captain fucking America right there.
And to kind of go back to what I was saying, I had another thought while you were talking about like the legacy and stuff. You could really also look at it as the three main characters in this.
Yeah.
Sam, Bucky, and Sharon.
Yeah.
They each represent a part of Cap because not only you have Bucky, who is the past, Sharon, who was the present at one point, and then Sam, who is the future.
Oh, very much so.
Like I know I'm getting like a little bit like English paper metaphorical here, but like that's really, I think, what they were going for, and they really succeeded at it. Like it works really, really well. Especially
if you look at like Bucky, his whole thing is dealing with the past and how he can leave it behind. Especially his there's one of my favorite video game artists, Suda51. He has this whole idea of what's known as kill the past. It's not like Kylo Ren.
If you have to. I was just about to be like, you mentioned Kylo Ren.
It's more of the idea that like it's not that you erase the past. It's just you finally put it to rest so that you can move on and become like a better person. And this is really, as much as it's about Sam embracing the future, this is about Bucky putting his past behind him and finally kind of accepting what he did as the Winter Soldier, but also accepting that doesn't mean he has to like constantly be paying pittance for all the horrible things he's done. That he can simply make up for it and finally move on as a person. Because like I think that was really the big plot line for Bucky, was just dealing with the fact that he has to accept that what he's done as the Winter Soldier and move past it, which is something I think he was really having trouble with, especially with the Japanese fellow that he was friends with in New York, who he was friends with because he had nightmares about killing his son as the Winter Soldier. Well, okay, they weren't nightmares, they were obviously repressed memories coming back to him. But yeah, I definitely can see that for Bucky. For Sharon, it's a little harder to go into just because like I kind of want to talk about her too much because I want to talk about her as we go into the episodes, but for Sharon it's definitely that she's kind of caught in this present that she's having trouble getting out of, and it's only through working with Bucky and Sam that she finally finds a way out of it. And even then, her storyline is clearly getting kind of backburnered. We're getting set up for it, but it's clearly getting...
What's the MCU? We're getting set up.
Yeah, set up for Cap 4, which I will give credit to this and WandaVision. it's really, really good at not just feeling like it's just set up for another movie. Like, that was one of the bigger worries I had when we were getting these TV shows.
Well, and it was such a concern with us at the end of WandaVision, you know, with that ending, was we really felt it was more like this is just set up. You know, this, I didn't have that same feeling with this at all.
I mostly feel that way for Sharon, but again, that's just because I feel like Sharon's story isn't over.
Yeah. Well, and there's already so many theories popping up about stuff that we'll get into later on, so... Let's go ahead and start diving into the
because we'll talk about like what problems I had with this show and really as we go through each episode.
All right, so our first episode was New World Order, which really kind of sets the stage with this is how Sam and Bucky are dealing with the aftermath of everything from Endgame.
Yeah,
you know, you have Sam donating the shield to the Smithsonian, and he has that chat with Rhodey. You know, and I thought it was really potent. That I remember us talking about it when the episode aired. Was that the significance of Rhodey being there really drove home the point Sam was talking about in his speech that, you know, symbols are nothing about the men and women behind them. You know, and you can just see the emotion in Rhodey that he's definitely thinking about
Iron Man. Yeah, Tony.
Which I think they're going to definitely touch on that probably in Armor Wars.
I almost makes me wonder if he's going to decide to try and be Iron Man, like how after Tony fell off the wagon the second time, how he was kind of supposed to be like the permanent Iron Man because Tony was like, I can't do it anymore because I'm afraid that Iron Man is just as much of an addiction as my alcoholism. I kind of doubt it. I feel like he might try to be Iron Man, but then he's gonna be like, no, I'm War Machine.
Yeah,
and this is what I do. But
I remember us talking about that a lot. Was like, okay, that's a little bit of that was like a double-handed thing,
but
right
really
there.
Well done. Like, cause like
really well done.
It's very seamless and natural. Like. Because you just have like a shot of Rhodey and him thinking about Tony, and it works really well.
And then you have Bucky, who's been pardoned by the government.
Yeah.
Mandated that he has to get therapy though, and they show him trying to make amends with the people.
Well, also still doing like secret agent shit.
Yeah, like he's trying to like take out the people that he helped get that were Hydra based. He helped get into power while he was the Winter Soldier.
My name is Bucky James Buchanan Barnes. I am not the Winter Soldier. Have a nice day. No, let's see where he just talks. Yeah. That lady was great.
And I think we talked. Did we do a first thoughts?
We did do a first thoughts on the first.
So we probably talked about this. His therapist is fucking terrible. My God, she's terrible.
And like, granted, I don't know how a therapist could handle like dealing with a real Manchurian candidate because I don't think we have any sort of.
There's only been one, supposedly. It's the guy that killed RFK, and even that's never been proven.
Yeah. And, like, how would you deal with that? How would you even be, like, able to help someone who is literally, like, there are huge chunks of my memory where I don't remember anything because literally I was built to be a killing machine. Or it's so painful
that I can't deal with it.
Yeah, because, like, this isn't like helping a veteran deal with, like,
PTSD or
like the horrible like the horrible shit they had to do in war. This is about literally I was turned into
went from one fight to the other,
and I was basically a fucking robot the whole time. Like it literally was like I was disassociating for like 100 years.
Yeah, but his therapist, we're not getting too much in it because I know we slammed her in the fucking the first thoughts, but my God, man, she is terrible.
Yeah,
like she fucking terrible. But, and then we see how Bucky's kind of adjusting. You know, he sleeps on the floor, which is a really common thing. I don't know if you knew that. That's a very, very common thing with combat veterans.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of feel like, and I think there was actually a quote from Cap somewhere in one of the comics, like, you know, the bed feels too soft, you know, where people like, you know, because we're talking about people that have like literally used rocks and helmets as. Yeah. I think I sent you guys a picture in the chat the other night of Patton's Third Army in Berlin, like sleeping on the sidewalk because they're just exhausted, you know.
No, I could believe that.
Like it's really hard for people to get out of that mindset, even when they're back home. You know, that's why PTSD is such a big a thing as it is.
Yeah, because
I really liked how they showed that. You know, that he's going through the same thing where like he can't sleep in a bed, he sleeps on the floor. That's just what he's used to. You know, and we see that. He dodges the question, you know, like, are you having nightmares? Nope. Like, he dodges stuff, you know, because it's...
Well, and to be fair...
It's hard for him to talk about.
Well, and to be fair, he probably is in his head, he's even like, I'm not having nightmares.
Yeah, I'm having memories.
I'm having memories. Like these aren't like nightmares. I know that they're things that I did.
Yeah. Well, and as we see later on, there's not that trust between him and this therapist as there later develops in the show between him and Sam.
Yeah.
Which I'll bring up when we get to that, but
which I also like that because we got to see return of long-haired, sexy Bucky from the Winter Soldier.
I know there were a lot of ladies upset that he cut his hair.
No, granted, I love him going back to the cut hair because that's how he is at like eventually he does cut his hair in the comics, but I was just like, granted, I fucking love the way he looked as Winter Soldier in the first film and like how he just kept that hair long. I was like, damn, he looks spooky
with them luscious locks.
Well, then he looks fucking spooky with that hair. Like
he definitely does.
He looks like a fucking ghost killer that's gonna fucking murder you.
Yeah, and so. We also see Sam kind of trying to adjust back to life post blip. He has the relationship with his sister that is kind of like, there's some friction there. Yeah. There's like she wants to sell the boat that their family is on. He doesn't want to. And so it's kind of like there's that friction going on there.
Well, and even then, he's also
back to working with the Air Force.
Yeah.
So he's there. It surely shows they're trying to put the pieces together.
Yeah.
And just kind of move on.
Well, not only that, with the Air Force stuff, we see how, because like one of the things that I've been frustrated with these shows is how weird everything feels about the blip. Because if you watch Spider-Man: Far From Home, which is like 8 months before this, it seems like everything's kind of smoothed out, like to the point where like fucking Peter could go on a fucking.
This takes place before.
Oh no, I'm getting to there.
Oh, okay.
Because like, I mean, even still, that's like 8 months. Like, you're telling me 8 months after this fucking terrorist attack, they're letting high schoolers from New York go on a fucking European vacation?
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're getting at. I misheard. I misunderstood.
Well, no, I was kind of trying to explain like at least here I kind of can see because like clearly things that because like after this story it kind of seems like we finally see how they work their way to that point.
Yeah.
I still don't completely buy it because I'm like, I don't know if anyone remembers like, and forgive me for being this, like air travel after like even like a year after 9/11. Yeah, like there's no way they were letting like a bunch of fucking high schoolers get on an airplane to go have a European vacation. Yeah. I don't care how fucking prestigious a boarding school they were at, but like, because like here we even have it that like international borders are having to be repaired. To the point where, like, they have to be careful what airspaces they're flying into. I mean, granted, that's still a thing now, but, like...
That was one thing I really applaud the show on doing, is they show that, like, it's not all sunshine and roses post-blip. Everything doesn't just go back immediately to how it was. You still have all these decisions that were made in those 5 years.
Yeah.
That, they're still dealing with. There's friction over, like, do we keep this stuff? Do we go back to how it was? Do we kind of meet in the middle?
Like, how do we give people back their houses after they've been sold to other people because, like, they were technically dead?
Yeah, it really shows that there's a lot of conflict going on in the world, and I think it's perfect. It's a perfect setup for future installments without being just pure setup. It makes sense.
Yeah,
it wouldn't just all be immediately we're back to right where we were. Pre Infinity War.
I think you kind of get my point though. Now how like Far From Home's kind of bullshit because like.
No, Far From Home kind of bullshit now.
Yeah, because like
in hindsight, but
and
like probably the biggest thing, is that we're introduced to this group called the Flag Smashers, which are our main antagonists for this, and we kind of find out, through conversation with some of the people in the episode that they're kind of trying to prevent stuff from being forced back to the way it was.
Yeah,
and to me, it's like I know a lot of people had issues with the villains in this, that they were really unredeemable and stuff like that.
But that's...
I actually had the opposite.
Yeah.
I really felt that like
they're very nuanced. It was
great.
Yeah, it was very nuanced.
I kind of understood where they were coming from. I also kind of understood where the government's side was coming from, and like I could kind of see where. I could see both sides, and I could understand both sides. It wasn't a black and white issue.
Yeah, like this is
which they really drive home later.
This is a very complicated issue they're having to deal with because like you got refugees everywhere, which man that's pretty fucking current.
Yeah,
you've got to figure out all the like because like 3 billion people suddenly re-showed up where the fuck are you putting them?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure like for like a lot of first world countries that was easy for them to do. Not so for like good chunks of Europe,
Like Somalia,
a
lot of the European countries probably.
Yeah. Like
I can see Russia. Russia probably had a hell of a fucking time trying to fix that, or any of the non-Western nations like Vietnam, Japan, China, like the nations with a large population. That had to have been a huge issue.
Yeah, like the fact that like most of the population of this planet is in like China or like the
Indo-Chinese area.
Indochina. So like all of a sudden all these people come back, like it would just be chaos. And they really drive that point home. Like, again, I know a lot of people said that like Disney tried to portray the Flag Smashers as being this really unlikable group, but like I never got that. No,
I knew they were supposed to be the villains, but they didn't feel like villains. It kind of just felt like these were our antagonists for the group, for the show. But I could kind of see where they were going. It was well written enough that I can see both sides.
Well, in a lot of ways, it reminds me of like ISIS in that way. Like they were young rebels who, you know, after the Middle East was so disabled, like, and after the Taliban kind of wavered after Osama was,
after we basically just went in there and went to town. But like
all of a sudden all these youth were like, no, we don't want.
For the record, we are not endorsing ISIS. No, I ain't taking that shit away from this.
No, I'm just making a point that like with ISIS that there was a lot of youth that were drawn to them because they had a good way of selling their shit.
It's the same as it's the same as the IRA.
Yeah, the IRA or like
the NFL, the National Liberation Front for Vietnam.
Yeah, like there's a lot of youth movements that would be like this.
Yeah,
so it was kind of what I was trying to get to.
Yeah, they really kind of drew on. I'm just so careful anymore. Everybody canceling everybody left and right. But yeah, they really drew on a lot of, you know, what would happen in a real world situation where something like this happened.
Yeah, like even to the point where the Flag Smashers had their own fucking app and a website. Which I almost wonder if like Disney made that app so that you could follow along.
Does the IRA have a website?
I wouldn't be surprised. Well, probably not in any way that you could like
probably like what branch of the IRA? There's like a couple different splinter groups within.
Well, then I was about to say you'd probably have to go on the dark web to figure that one out.
Probably.
Not that I'm endorsing you on the dark web.
Don't endorse going to the dark web either. But all right, so the biggest point with this episode is the end where we reveal that the government has decided we need a new Captain America. And they introduce John Walker.
And man, before we go into this, I do not hate the actor Wyatt Russell.
No, Wyatt Russell did a phenomenal job in this. Amazing job.
Like when
I found out he was getting hate, I was like, are we fucking really? Are we being serious, guys? He's an actor.
Yeah, like
he's a fucking actor. He's playing a character who's not real.
The son of Kurt Russell. Who is also awesome. He's in one of my favorite horror movie, the Thing, the 82 one.
Why?
Like,
my God, when I heard about that, I was like, are we really fucking doing this?
I will admit, the way they put that helmet on him, though, I did say he has a punchable looking face. No offense, Wyatt.
Intent.
Yeah, like the way they put you in that helmet.
Like the guy from Up.
He looked like
he looked like from Up.
He looked like fucking Popeye is what he looked like. I kept expecting him to go. I'm gonna bring freedom to the whole world. Instead of like a gun in his holster, he has like a fucking can of spinach.
Yeah, and man, the end of that episode was pretty good.
I was so pissed because I was like
you really felt with Sam, where Sam was God damn it.
Speaking of, I really love...
Same with Bucky, when Bucky is seeing
when Bucky, he's like...
Bucky's like, oh, son of a bitch.
I'm going to go kick Sam's ass is what I'm going to go do.
I'm going to kick your ass.
I'm going to kick your ass. Well, I also, because we never really talked about, I actually really love Walker's Cap costume, where it's basically...
It's similar enough, but it's got the differences.
Yeah, like it has like the U.S. agent like stripe vest, and I actually love the fact that his A is actually a star. Like, I actually love that where, like, they take the A and they give, like, the star points to it. It looks good. It looks really good. And it gives you the feeling of it, instead of being a heroic superhero for that fights for America, he is a soldier. Like he has like the bigger boots.
Which my biggest thing with Walker was throughout the series, and I know they had to have done this on purpose, as we kind of move on to the second episode, but because the second episode starts, we really kind of are introduced to Walker. We kind of get a little bit of background. The guy's won like 3. I told you when I watched him, like, I call horse shit on this man having 3 Medal of Honors.
Yeah.
There ain't no fucking way in hell that ever happens in real life.
No.
I think there's only like a couple that have 2. Most of the time when we give that medal out, because I know you don't know a lot of military.
No, so
most of the people who get that, they're fucking dead.
Yeah.
Like, that's a posthumous award.
Like,
I want to say before Iraq, the last time we had given those out was for the two Army Ranger snipers that died during the Mogadishu incident, like defending one of the Black Hawks that got shot down. That's the highest award we give out as a country for military service, and it's hard enough to get 1. But I was like, if they had said 2, I'd be like, okay, pushing it a little bit, I can buy it because I think there are a couple that have 2. When they said 3, I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Get the fuck out of here.
I would not be surprised if him and Battlestar just got those Medal of Honors just because they became the new Cap and Bucky.
Well, no, they bring up earlier, it was for stuff that went on overseas.
Yeah.
They bring up in later episodes.
Well, then, like, they could have also been maybe doing, like, some Black Ops shit for the government.
Yeah, but, we're kind of introduced to that he's kind of like, they set him up to be the perfect soldier.
Yeah.
But as we kind of find out throughout the rest of the season, he's not entirely the perfect man.
Yeah, which, and Cap wasn't the perfect soldier. He was
a good
man. Yeah, like as Erskine, he that was why he was chosen to be Cap. It wasn't because he was the perfect soldier. It was because he is kind of the perfect man, if I'm being honest. Like I get why so many women want to bang Cap in the Marvel universe, because he's soft spoken, but he will kick your ass. He has a body shaped like a Dorito. Like, he wears the American.
It's like your Photoshop.
It's like like when he came out of that fucking Vita Ray in the first film, I was like, holy shit! I think it might be a little gay.
That Peggy's actress. Yeah, no, apparently that wasn't scripted. That was improv.
Like I am a straight man, but like I was like,
Cap. If I had to pick a dude,
yeah, Cap. If I had to pick a dude, it'd be Cap. Maybe Thor. But only because comic book Thor is like a puppy dog with superpowers.
Yeah, but like I said, we're introduced to John.
Oh, and he gets introduced by having a fucking interview with Good Morning America at his fucking high school alma mater.
They already got toys done up of him, which prompts to Hasbro when they did the Walmart exclusive Marvel Legend for John Walker, which I already pre-ordered. That's paid off. That's pre-ordered. That fucker's coming in the mail in August, I think it is.
Now you just have to get
they went with the same box that's in the movie. I'm like, I gotta get it. I gotta buy that.
Which, you're gonna have to get it and the U.S. agent variant.
I'm gonna have to. But they really set up. This was a push by the government to do that. And then we cut to Sam and Bucky, and Bucky is obviously like he ain't happy. He's like,
he's pissed.
Like you saw this, you had anything to do with this?
Yeah, and Sam is like, of course I didn't know that. Like, if I gave the shield to the Smithsonian, they were going to take it back.
Yeah, which it has one of my favorite That scene has one of my favorite exchanges between Sam and Bucky in it. How do you know about Gandalf? I read The Hobbit in 1937 when it came out. And people did research. Yeah. He would have had to have imported that. So he is a fucking nerd.
Well, I mean, to be fair, him and Steve are big fucking nerds. Steve's favorite pastime was fucking painting.
Yeah.
Nothing against painting. You kind of have to be a dork
at that time period. That wasn't really a society's idea.
Granted, Steve got into painting because he was an asthmatic, so he really couldn't do physical activity much.
And then we kind of see Bucky and Sam team up, to kind of go against this rebel group.
Oh, which was
the Flag
fucking
Smashers.
amazing.
What's the plan?
And then Bucky tries to do the Cap thing by using his adamantium or his vibranium arm to.
No, I got that all on camera, right?
Yeah, that was so fucking funny. Or the part where he
So we kind of already there's a good repertoire between them. They're not exactly the best of friends. But they got they're already bantering. So it's kind of a good start. And Man, that fight scene on the trucks
that
was great. Like, I loved the choreography of that, and then there was so much going on. They really portrayed that it was like there was a lot going on, and it was really frantic.
It was frantic, chaotic.
They did a good job at portraying how chaotic that scene was.
And I'm pretty sure most of that was done, like, with real people. Like, the only things being probably Sam, obviously, because you can't really... We don't have those kind of jetpacks.
Yeah.
Like, it looks so fucking good.
Russia with Love is a bunch of bullshit.
Yes. As much as I love that movie. Yes. Then, like, the part where Carly, you know, when Carly kicks Bucky out of the truck when he thinks that, like, she's like she snuck on. All that. And, like, the fucking smile Carly gives, like, right before she fucking whoops Bucky's ass.
It took me a minute when I watched that to figure out who that chick was. And, like, I mean, I'd seen her somewhere, and then I was like, oh, it's from the girl from Solo. Okay, it took me a minute to remember.
She's great in this, too.
She's a great actress.
Although I know so many people are like, she's not a bad guy because they were hot for her. And I'm like...
Simps.
Oh, yeah. Grant, I'm probably sure there's
You're talking mad shit for someone within bonk distance.
You know.
Mad horny.
Well, you know, and of course this here establishes what we've already kind of guessed from the one Flag Smasher. They're super soldiers. They have somehow managed to get a hold of the super soldier serum.
Yeah.
The only thing is they've streamlined it a bit, so like they don't get super buff like Steve did.
Yeah. And then at the end of that, you know, because Walker and his partner Battlestar show up.
Who I actually really loved, even when...
Oh, you liked Lamar?
Yeah, I loved Lamar. He was great.
Like, they didn't really do a lot with him, but when he was in, I liked him. He seemed like a likable character.
He at least was like kind of the one who seemed to be like willing to kind of reel Walker back in.
Yeah,
like he was the one that was probably the most willing to negotiate with Sam and Buck.
Yeah,
he didn't be like how Walker.
We kind of see how Sam and Buck, like, Walker obviously, like, he tries to kind of like be like I want to help you guys, like I want your help, and it just flat out Sam and Buck basically tell him, you know, go
fuck yourself,
fucking take a hike.
Yeah,
it's always that last sentence.
Well, especially because like Walker is like, you know, we tracked you hacked my tech, belongs to the government.
I'm like, man, fuck you.
I'm like,
no offense, but like, fuck you.
You need to work on your fucking negotiation skills.
Yeah, there's a point there, but still.
Yeah, like,
fuck you, man.
Yeah, like, especially because you guys are supposed to be on the same fucking side. Why didn't you fucking, I don't know,
ask
or give him a fucking call?
Yeah,
he's on the government payroll. You could probably find his fucking number.
They really try, like, John really kind of tries to like muscle his way into, you know, the role Cap had, obviously.
Yeah.
And then as you see, as it goes on throughout the episodes, you know, he kind of gets frustrated that it's like they aren't taking him like, with the same amount of respect
as Steve. And to be fair, with Steve, it was earned. Like, he literally was like one of the...
He fought in World War fucking II. That alone, for me, is like, okay, you got respect.
He's literally like the one of the major factors in this universe's version for ending the Third Reich and preventing Hydra from like sneaking in after Adolf took everything over. Like the dude fought the fucking Red Skull. Like the reason people were instantly willing to listen to him is because he was a living fucking legend. You don't just get to be that legend just because you put the suit on and and have the shield. Or, you know, say shit like, you know, I never met Cap in person, but I feel like we were brothers. I wanted to fucking punch him in the face when he said that. I was like, shut the fuck up, Walker.
He's really, what I think they really tried to nail with John's character at that point was they really tried to get that he was really playing up.
Yeah.
He was trying to play up to, you know, that role.
But the problem is
you're not that Cap.
And not only that, you're following orders. You're not like you're just doing what the government wants you to do. And especially as we see later on, they basically want him to be the way for them to steamroll the GCR's plans to basically put everyone back where they should be, basically.
Yeah.
Especially because later on we see the GCR basically like I don't know what I would call them. Like basically they're like like the SS more or less, especially the way they march in, like their slogans and shit, like like when they take over the one refugee camp and like arrest all of them because they were in league with the Flag Smashers. I was like
this isn't freedom, this is fear.
Yeah, to quote Cap, this ain't freedom, this is fear. And so basically, you know, like Walker and Lamar basically. I'm just gonna call him Lamar because as much as I love the name Battlestar,
what, Galactica?
Yeah,
that was the first thing I had. I was like, oh my god, I couldn't help it.
Which he was a real character. Him and Walker were like Cap and Bucky after Cap became Nomad for a while, and then Cap saw what Walker was doing and was like,
oh hell no,
give me back that shield. Let me tell you, when Cap wants his shield back,
he gets his fucking
shield back. But I think also this is where we establish a little bit more about the Flag Smashers, I think.
Yeah, we kind of go into, like, you know, what are their motivations? What are they trying to do? We kind of meet, you know, Carly who is the leader of them.
The de facto leader.
Yeah.
And
then at the end of it, you know, we get this big thing where Bucky's like, I know a guy.
Oh, yeah, because
fucking Zemo, and all of us are like, oh, no.
Well, especially because, like, they bring up that they had stolen a bunch of first they stole medical supplies, but they had gotten their powers from this mysterious character that's been supplying like super soldier stuff in the underworld known as the Power Broker. And so Bucky figures out if we go to Zemo
probably knows. And Zemo even mentions, like, you know, I know the Power Broker by reputation.
Yeah.
And so it kind of leads to Buck both helps Zemo break out and doesn't, you know, because like the next episode starts, you know, in episode 3, Power Broker.
Yeah, which I've actually never seen Age of Ultron. I've seen clips of it.
I saw it a long time ago.
At
least I think I did. I think I saw that a long time ago.
Age of Ultron, and it's been forever since and I've only really seen Civil War in as much as I saw it as clips, because it was based on a comic book I don't really like.
Yeah, I was like, you and I both don't like Civil War. I think we're in a minority that doesn't
going
like
into
Civil War.
knowing they were making that movie, I was like, I'm gonna wait until people tell me if it's good or not. And then when I heard people be like, oh, it's even better than the book, I was like, okay. So I this is kind of my first introduction to Zemo, and my God, he is fucking entertaining in this show.
He is entertaining.
Like I know he's like a Nazi.
I was like, damn, man, at this point, how is Zemo more likable than Walker?
I know he's like a Nazi, but like, my God, he was a fucking riot, especially in the first couple episodes with him.
What is he doing? Did you help him break out? I did. Technically, he did it himself.
Well, then,
really?
that scene where they're in what's the Asian country they go to find the Power Broker and Sharon?
Madripoor.
Madripoor. That scene where he's dancing in the Madripoor club, where he's like fucking like,
oh my God! And then people, you know, that actor was like, you know, I did a whole bunch more, and then people were like, Marvel released the Zemo cut, and they're I'm like, all right, here's an hour of him dancing.
I want.
Give me the Zemo cut.
Because he was so fucking entertaining. Like, and not only that, like,
I look like a pimp. Only an American would think a black man looks like you would look like a pimp. Like,
well, I know, especially because they keep hammering in how racist Zemo is. Like when they're on the jet and he talks.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Yeah, he talks to Bucky about the album he has Cap listen to in Winter Soldier. And it talks about the anger of the young African black men.
He's out of line, but he's right. I love that became a meme. I love that that's a meme now.
Like, I was like, that was so fucking funny.
The best meme to come out of this was that one where it's like, where, you know, Buck's like, I like 40s music. Like, you didn't listen to this? Like, no, man, I've been listening to this guy Eminem. This is mad dog. He's scared, man. This guy's an Avenger. It's really his class.
His parents have a very nice marriage.
When I first saw that, I was like, what the fuck is this? And I saw Eminem get revved. I'm like, oh no, I know what's coming.
Well, then, for those of you who don't know, Anthony Mackie was actually in the 8 Mile movie.
He's the guy Eminem destroys at the end of it, and it's just been a meme for a while. Don't say it!
No.
This guy's an Avenger. His
real name is Clarence. And
oh,
Clarence,
come on!
His parents have a very nice marriage.
I love that that's a meme,
but
and probably my biggest happy moment with this fucking episode was when Sharon shows up.
Oh yeah,
because that was like my big thing. Was like, I love Sharon Carter.
Yeah,
and like I've always kind of felt like they didn't use her a whole lot in the movies. They didn't use her very well. So like her showing up and like immediately kicking ass by like, you know, like taking people out and stuff. Yeah. And I'm like, this is what I wanted. I'm okay with this.
Well, it's such a shame because basically they introduced Peggy, who is basically Sharon, aside from being British, to be Cap's love interest. So when she makes out with him, you're just sitting there like, you didn't realize he could have basically been your grandpa, right? It's a little weird.
Well, it's like, gotta remember that she was a cousin, so that.
Well,
but even still, it really made me mad that like people really went after not only Sharon as a character, people went after Emily Van Camp as
no, I
do
actress,
know about which made me really fucking mad. Like I think that they had to do a lot of negotiating to get her to come back.
Yeah,
just because of like the abuse she put up with from the fan base.
Yeah. Well, then like
which, again, fucking MCU, we got some of the most toxic fan bases in the fucking world. Of course, people don't get their way.
For me, it didn't help that like they had like Natasha with Cap that whole time, and I'm like, why are you setting him up with her?
I ship Widow Cap.
Yeah,
I'm cool with
Natasha.
that.
Why are you setting him up with her? Like, you could have some of this pure grade A American beef. Like no prime rib is more prime rib than Steve Rogers. But
so they have Sharon show up, and it's revealed in, I think it's the next episode.
It is revealed more in the next episode, but
it's revealed in the next episode. Sharon has been, she's been working in Madripoor, ever since, she's been on the run from the government because, like everybody else, she wasn't given a pardon, which doesn't make any fucking sense.
It also doesn't help that, like, technically Fury is not in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. at the moment because he's been underground since, I think, the events of Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
After, like, it turned out Hydra had been, like, running both the government and S.H.I.E.L.D. for, like, 40 years.
Yeah. But she's been on the run. She's been doing.
Yeah.
She's been dealing as an art dealer. She has connections. So Sam and Buck really use her to kind of like figure out, like where's this super soldier serum coming from?
Yeah, coming from.
Which we get this really funny scene.
Yeah.
Where like you also really see like how jaded Sharon is about everything. You have the scene where she's talking with Sam, like that S.H.I.E.L.D. was a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, which I'm sorry, like. My biggest thing with this episode, I know I wasn't the only one that noticed it by the group we're in. Sharon, fucks both Sam and Buck in
Bucky.
that episode.
Yeah, there's one Sam is like shirtless for
that lip bite she does to Bucky. I'm like, okay, I know what you're thinking, and it ain't exactly PG.
Are you about to make a reverse Oreo, Sharon? where Sam's in the middle of the two vanilla cookies? Because. I mean, more power to you, girl. I mean,
yeah, but so we get this really.
I just wanted to say real quick. There's also this because, like in the third episode, Bucky has pretended to be the Winter Soldier again, and he basically like kind of shows that he still can kind of be the Winter Soldier, where he just whoops all those people's asses.
Yeah,
what was that really weird scene where Zemo's connection kind of. Like implies that she wants the Winter Soldier not to kill people, but like to bang him, and I'm like,
okay. So we figure out where the serum's coming from. It's this guy that he had been working on it prior to the blip. He had samples from Isaiah, which harkens back to them talking about them taking blood samples.
Yeah,
and it's really like when he came back, he was working on it again. He got contracted by the power broker to make it, and then it got stolen.
Yeah.
It was real. He made like 20 vials of it or something.
Yeah.
And then Zemo just flat out says, "Fuck this!" Executes him. Oh my god.
Because Zemo's whole thing is he does not want more super soldiers. Like even like in like Civil War, super soldiers are dangerous.
But there's never been another Steve Rogers, has there?
We get more into that in the next episode. But not only does this happen, but basically, due to the events of the previous night. Sam and Bucky have, like, huge fucking bounties on their head because Madripoor, I guess, is just, like...
Whole city fucking turned on them, basically.
Yeah. It's like the Mos Eisley spaceport. You'll never find a bigger hive of scum and villainy in the universe.
You must be cautious.
And so everyone starts trying to kill them, which gives us the scene where Sharon just fucking annihilates, like... 40 or 50 people.
Like doing like some Black Widow moves. Or
my god. No.
I'm like, holy fuck, man. You looked at me, you're like, damn, Colton's enjoying this.
Well, not only that, I'm like, did fucking Sharon go to the Red Room too? Like, what the fuck? And then you get the scene where like Zemo shoots a gas main to like kill a bunch of them. And he's like, all right, put the mask back on. It's time to be Baron Zemo. And just...
Then he gets the car and he just shows up. Get in.
Oh, we get the scene where Bucky's riding up front, and he's like, "You're not going to put your seat up, are you?"
I told you to wait for my signal. No, I went right. It's in every action movie.
Oh my god, yeah, the fucking
guys, not that time.
Well, then like the scene where where he's like, "You're not going to move your seat up, are you?"
No. I'm like, oh,
which is a callback to 3.
When I saw that, I'm like,
War.
that's funny.
You know, we're late.
Yeah.
But
and then we kind of get a hint that Sharon is a little more than what she's letting on, because
they really make it pretty obvious she's the power broker.
Yeah.
Like I like you and me pretty much were like,
I guessed it. I was like, is Sharon the power broker?
Yeah. I didn't want to say anything, but after you said it, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
When I mentioned it to you, I remember you coming back and be like, I thought about it. It makes a lot of sense.
It really does.
But even I was like, I don't know though, because it's really obvious. I feel like when I first thought about that, I was like, it makes sense, but it's way, way obvious.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of the point, because like, it's so obvious that Bucky and even Sam don't really
get it,
especially with how easily she finds the super soldier. Like,
or like later on, she's like, "Yeah, I got access to a satellite or two." I'm like,
yeah, but you still kind of found it way faster than a satellite would let you find it, Sharon.
Yeah,
like,
and so. And so leading into, like I said, the next episode, we have Walker kind of following Sam and Buck. He's kind of like a step or two behind him each time, and we kind of start to see like him kind of fracturing, like him breaking apart real easy. Like there's that scene where like he's interrogating some of the people that were sheltering Carly and her group, and he has that whole thing where he's like, "Do you know who I am? I'm Captain America," and one guy's like, "I know, and I don't care."
Because he's just another, he's
just another dude in a suit.
He's just another American imperialist. Like
it's not like Steve. If Steve were there, first off, Steve would have probably been able to get the info out of him, because he wouldn't have thrown him around.
He would have just been like, "I know you think these people are doing the right thing,
but they're not.
People are getting killed because of them."
Yeah, Steve would have been able to reason that. Walker just thinks he can muscle his way. Through everything.
Hell, even Cap would probably been like, to be honest, I don't know if I should really stop them or not. But
I mentioned after episode 2, I remember telling you, like, dude, the way he's beaming that fucking shield, I'm like, you're gonna kill somebody like with that shit. Yeah, but
hold on to that. We're getting there.
My God, I remember thinking that, like, dude, you're gonna decapitate somebody
when they
with that
show him
shit.
Training with the shield, he just
throws it. There's no finesse to it.
Yeah, which with Cap there is finesse. Like I know Cap, like he throws it in a way that it doesn't like.
It doesn't just cut somebody's head off.
Yeah, like and not only that, he usually doesn't do it against people that are not able to handle it.
Yeah,
he uses it against like people that are like, it'll just knock them the fuck out. It's not gonna like
slow them down.
Like, yeah, with John, he uses it like it's a fucking Destructo disc from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, and so
we also get kind of an idea of where Carly is going, because basically she's going back to this, I guess, orphanage she was raised in, which is now like a refugee camp.
Which we forgot to mention at the end of the last episode, the big end of it, where you were like, damn, I wasn't expecting Wakanda to show up.
Oh yeah, because they finally figure out where they're going, and then the Dora Milaje show up. Basically the army for Wakanda,
the special forces.
Yeah, the special forces. And basically the leader of the Dora Milaje, Ayo, which, forgive me if I'm butchering these names. A lot of these are the first time I've ever, because the most I know about Wakanda is that's where vibranium comes from, and Black Panther. Like I don't know everything about it.
We're not totally experts.
Yeah, like
we don't pretend to be.
I don't pretend to be. But and of course, yeah, basically they want Zemo because like Zemo is the one who killed T'Challa's father. Which is why like Black Panther shows up in Civil War, because he's like, I want Zemo and I want him dead.
Yeah.
Because like there's some bad blood there.
Yeah, and so we see, Bucky kind of reasons with him like he's a means to an end.
Actually, before that, we see how they helped him undo the brainwashing.
Yeah, that's at the beginning. So which Sebastian Shaw, my God, man. The acting guy, that guy got talent.
Yeah, like is Io's doing all the the rusted, longing, and he's
the code
like
words.
He's like sitting there crying because he's like I don't want to turn, and I don't want to like kill Io or like hurt somebody. Like I just want it to be finally over. And then when she says the last one, the tears are no longer like of fear; it's relief because he's finally
realizes
free.
like I'm not. It doesn't work on me anymore.
Yeah, and I love like she calls him White Wolf because that was like the name they gave him, and I really see why he's
you
so.
spent a little time in Wakanda. You come out looking like a White Panther.
White Wolf.
That line still makes me laugh because it's funny as shit.
Which is funny because there's like a White Panther. I think it's White Tiger is what her name is, and she's actually she's from Latin America, I think.
Yeah. Which we also, Walker kind of catches up with them. And we kind of have this thing where, Sam, Bucky, and Zemo, they're trying to figure out where Carly is. Zemo manages to figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, also kind of setting up, like, I have a backup plan because I can get away.
Yeah. Well, he
basically El Chapo's it the fuck out of there at one point.
Well, because basically they try to go to the refugee camp that they know Carly probably went to.
And nobody wants to talk to them.
Yeah. Because they're Americans, and also, like, they know that, like, this will get Carly in trouble. So Zemo's like,
I'll talk to the kids.
I'll act like a pedophile.
Oh my God, he started singing that song. I'm like, oh hell no, what are you doing?
Is he gonna murder these kids?
That's what I thought. I'm like, no, I don't want to see this.
He's gonna murder them until one of them talks? And then he pulls out the Turkish delight, and I'm like, oh,
okay.
He's just gonna bribe them with candy.
Him singing is so fucking creepy.
Well, especially because, like, I kind of get why, because, like, he was a father. Like, his family had been murdered during, like, a war, I think. I can't remember exactly, but... And so he pulls the Turkish delight talk. He's like, "These were my son's favorite. I'm trying to meet a friend and for this funeral."
Goes through that whole thing. He gets the info, and then
he tells him not to tell Sam and Buck though, because he's like, "This is my way in."
And then Walker and Battlestar show back up.
Yeah.
And Walker's like, why did you break him out? And all this shit, like.
And Bucky basically goes like the Anakin Skywalker, I need him!
Well, it occurs to me we forgot to bring this up from an earlier episode too, real quick, not to dive too much into it. Walker gets Bucky not only out of jail because he missed his therapy.
Oh, yeah. Because
he also gets it that he doesn't need to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Trying to kind of be like, hey, I want to work with you guys.
Because he happens to be best friends with the therapist.
Yeah. And that's kind of at the end of it, kind of sets off the whole thing of like, them kind of not working with each other.
Yeah, and also Buck's whole thing about why he's so mad at Sam, because you gave up that shield. Because
if Steve was wrong about you, then he's wrong about
me. Which, and then Sam doesn't say anything, and I almost wanted Sam to be like, "There's no way he was wrong about you, Bucky, because he's the whole reason he did everything."
So we get back to it, and we have this scene where Sam kind of starts getting through to Carly. He's having a pretty chill convo.
He tells that he wants to talk with. He basically is like, I can get through to her because I've dealt with this sort of thing as like helping with vets and stuff. Give me 10 minutes. And Walker's like, fine, 10 minutes. Which of course Walker fucking breaks. But then we get the scene with Carly where Sam, because clearly Carly, like, she did kill people previously because she had killed a bunch of soldiers after they'd stolen supplies and tied them up. And basically, Sam tries to talk to her like, you can justify killing them now, but how many more deaths can you justify? Like, like
when does it stop?
When does it stop? And you really do see that he's trying to get it to be like,
to quote James Bond, when you go on a quest of revenge, you take 2 graves.
Yeah. And like even because like. I forget her. I think it's like Mama Vidania, I think is her name.
Don't look at me. I can't do those names.
Fair, but basically like he's like, would she really have wanted you to do this? And just when you think something's gonna finally like get through to Carly,
Walker's like, nope, time to come on in.
Yeah, like he had I think Sam had like a minute left, and then of course we get the big skirmish where like Carly manages to get away.
But Zemo manages to smash almost all of the serum.
Yeah.
Before Walker knocks him out.
Yeah.
except one, which
Walker finds
takes.
and pockets.
Yeah.
He doesn't take it right away, but he does take it by the end of this episode.
And so that leads into, Carly kind of starts to be like, okay, Sam's not totally on board with all of this. So she reaches out to Sam's sister and basically kind of like threatens her, which I'm like, okay, we're going into the villain textbook now, are we?
Yeah.
So, and then it leads into the scene where basically Carly wants to meet with Sam alone again.
And Sam's not stupid, so he's like, Bucky, you coming with?
He brings Bucky with him.
Yeah.
Well, and then it's also revealed we have this scene where John and we have these two parallel scenes, which I think these are key. So we got to.
Oh yeah, where Sam and
John talks to
Battlestar at like this cafe.
If you had the chance of taking the serum, would you do it?
And Battlestar's like, yeah, of course I would.
Yeah, Lamar's like instantly like, I would take it, no question.
Yeah.
Then you have a similar scene with Zemo and Sam.
Yeah.
And Sam instantly with a hesitation. No.
Like, and of course we get. I think the thing that Zemo is basically he reinstates in a sort of a reverse way what Erskine said to Steve when why he chose Steve. And you already brought it up at one point where Zemo's like, the super soldier serum doesn't make you into anything. It just makes what's already there stronger.
Yeah.
With Carly, it makes her much more of, instead of being
wakes up and chooses violence.
Yeah. But with Steve, it just made him from a good man into a great man. Like there will never be another Steve Rogers. And that's why the super soldier serum is so dangerous, because it makes you feel like you can do anything. And if you don't have the realization that like so much power cannot, with great power comes great responsibility, basically. And that's why Zemo hates the serum so much, because a man who probably would, if he could use it, he would probably, but like even he sees the dangers. Of it.
And so
and also the Dora Milaje I think show up at this point.
But prior to this scene with Carly and Sam and Bucky meeting, we got to deal with this too. The Dora Milaje show up to take Zemo. Walker and Battlestar also there, and it leads into this huge fucking fight,
which opens with Walker putting his hand on the Dora Milaje.
Which it's like it was at that moment he knew he fucked up.
I also love it, he's like, the Dora Milaje don't have
any authority
here. The Dora Milaje have authority wherever the Dora Milaje go. I'm like,
they weren't even super soldiers. Yeah, he's also blind. Fucking guys.
Oh, and the Dora Milaje fucking take Walker apart.
They wreck him the fuck up. They do the kick up with the shield.
Oh my god. That like, Io opens with like throwing the spear through like the shield strap, so he's like stuck because he won't let go of the fucking shield. Because unlike Cap, who established in 2 that he is more than the shield,
Walker ain't nothing without the shield.
Also, Zemo sneaks into the bathroom and then escapes.
Just El Chapo style, goes out through the thing under the tub. I'm like, damn, he's taking some El Chapo style stuff.
But like, and we also get the scene where Io like pushes a bunch of buttons on Bucky's metal arm, and it just pops off like he's Buzz fucking Lightyear.
What the fuck?
Don't you understand? I'm Mrs. Nesbit.
Oh my god, whoever drew that, props.
No,
that was hilarious.
That was very well done.
And so that leads into this very, probably what I would say was the most pivotal moment in the whole season.
Yeah.
Which was Walker. After Lamar is killed in a skirmish with the Flag Smashers. And this is after Walker took the super soldier serum. He chases one of the Flag Smashers down, and even though he's surrendering...
Who previously stated that he was actually a big fan of Captain America.
Beats him to death with the shield.
Yeah.
Which I remember, when you and I watched that, I was like... I think I texted you because I was at work. I watched it a day after you.
Yeah.
I was like, did anybody else's jaw hit the fucking floor?
No, which... This actually is in the comics. That Walker had murdered someone using Cap's shield. I was like... Holy fuck. And I know it looks
one of the most gruesome scenes in the MCU as a whole.
And I know it looks like he crushed his chest. I'm pretty sure he turned that dude's head into chunky salsa.
And the whole time, it's being filmed, so I'm like, well, I think I told you, I'm like, well, it's international incident time.
Yeah, no, like, and and then at the end, after he murdered the dude, he just puts the shield on his arm and cinches and I'm like,
oh, hell no.
Yeah, and then you see the blood just.
Yeah, and I'm like, God, I couldn't wait for the next episode after that, because I'm like, Sam and Bucky are gonna beat this motherfucker senseless now.
Which they do.
Which I loved the beginning of that episode where it's like,
yeah,
you don't want to do this. And I'm looking at Bucky, I'm like, no, he wants to.
I mean, Bucky even says, like,
he's like, I do. Actually, I've been waiting for this.
Well, I do love it too, because we get like this moment where he, after he killed the dude, he saw Carly, but like Carly got away. And actually, I think for me is where I think Walker had a bit of a turnaround for me.
Well, you can see he started breaking down.
Yeah,
like he mentally had a breakdown.
He's like, why didn't I listen? Like, is he like Lamar even wanted him to listen? And then he kind of thinks he does what he thinks Cap would do, which is he's like, back to work. I can mourn Lamar after.
Yeah. So we get in this big knockout fight between Sam, Walker, and Bucky.
And even then, Sam tries to. They all
get pretty fucked up.
Yeah, like Walker rips the wings off his Falcon pack.
Walker gets his arm broke by them trying to rip the shield off of him.
And they actually managed to do it on like fucking Star-Lord with the Infinity Gauntlet. Fuck you, Star-Lord. This is all your fault.
Yeah. It's like they're all pretty fucked up.
Oh my god, yeah.
I loved it because I know I predicted in our Hulk video, which it should be out by the time this comes up.
Yeah, this is gonna come out.
That I predicted they were gonna let Bucky be Cap for a bit. Like,
yeah,
I think we got that moment there. Was he got the shield?
Yeah.
Like had it for a minute, and then like he kind of just tossed it down to Sam, and then he left.
Yeah.
I think Bucky, thought about it, and then he got it, and he's like, "This isn't mine.
This isn't. I
can't. I'm too attached to it."
Yeah, I can't. Because like I think Zemo's words kind of got through like because Bucky himself is a super soldier, and he's just like I don't think like I'm too attached, and I'm not the person that should be Captain America. And then I also love the like Sam picks the shield back up and he sees the blood on it.
And he tries to clean it off with his bare hands.
Because even he realizes, like, this wouldn't have happened if I hadn't given up the shield. Like, because I think this is where it really hits home for Sam that this is what happened because I wasn't sure. It tarnished the shield. Which I even think to the point where it was tarnished so much, I want to say Sam has a new shield when he becomes Cap at the end of the show.
I don't think it's a new shield.
I don't know.
I don't think it's a new shield.
It probably isn't, but like it just seemed like because I think because the star on it has like segments instead of like the solid star like the original one I probably shouldn't say original, like the original paint job on it.
I don't think it is.
You're probably right. It just seemed that way because like it looked like the star was different, but
no. To be fair, we hadn't seen it in close-ups that much.
Yeah.
So after that, we get up to episode 5.
Which is basically just
the consequences of everything. You have Walker is basically stripped of the Captain America title.
Yeah.
And he kind of has a break. He's like, all I've done my whole life is what you guys told me to do, what you trained me to do.
Yeah, like I've lived by your.
That was kind of the point with me where I was like, okay, like I was real fucking pissed at him after he killed the dude. But and I was kind of like not really a fan of him prior to that. But after that, I was kind of like, I can kind of get this dude was not.
He's basically it's basically like Rambo in like First Blood, where it literally is like, I've done everything you've asked me to do, and this is how you repay me, basically.
Yeah. So like there's that. He meets with Lamar's family and talks about it. And he basically lies to them about it.
I mean, granted, I kind of see why. It's better to give them comfort that like his killer was Lamar's killer was brought to justice. And
then we have Sam,
going back
fixing a boat.
He goes back to Isaiah first.
Yeah, he goes back to Isaiah and talks with him about stuff.
And about like how like Isaiah they wouldn't let me be Captain America, and I know they won't let you be Captain America.
Yeah. And so then we get more of this boat, and Bucky shows up.
And it shows what, like, in my opinion, this is where we first really see why Steve chose Sam, is because Sam knows how to do things to get things done. Because he calls in all these favors from people that owed his parents a favor. he gets everyone to work together. He kind of Avengers assembles without Avengers assembles.
Yeah.
Where he it shows why he picks Sam, because he knows that Sam has the ability to pull people together and get something accomplished. You say what you will about Cap, like one of the things I think people forget about Cap is why he's technically the leader of the Avengers and not Tony. Because Cap knows how to get people to rally together. And and I think this here shows why Sam was chosen by Steve. And of course we also get this, it also helps that it helps Steve, Sam and Bucky both kind of finally.
I told you not to hit on my sister.
That too. But because Steve or Bucky apologizes to Sam because he's like, when Steve told me what he was gonna do, we didn't realize how hard it would be for a black man to be Captain America. And we were wrong about that. And Sam even kind of points out, everyone acts like Steve always knew what to do, but Steve made mistakes too. And I love that because then, Sam also tells Bucky, you need to stop acting like you need to keep paying for what you did.
Which, we get that same sequence, Sam basically asks him, are you having nightmare? Bucky instantly is like, yeah, I have multiple. That alone right there shows you the trust that he was lacking with the therapist.
All the while they're doing this, they're just throwing the shield back and forth to each other, which I love because it's kind of like two dudes playing catch, basically.
Playing frisbee.
Yeah, or playing frisbee. And
mutual acquaintances.
But yeah. But I love it because basically the two of them finally talk about what their feelings are about all this. And, with Sam finally telling Bucky, you need to start living. You need to, make amends, and then you need to move on. And I think that's where we finally see Bucky has finally decided, I can do. I can finally move on as a person about all this. And while this is going on, Walker's approached by this woman who's played by, I forget, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, a.k.a. Elaine from Seinfeld, who I guess works for the government. I think you told me
she's supposed to be in Black Widow, which we would have known if they just put the fucking movie out when they were fucking supposed to.
Yeah, she's basically like a Hydra agent, or a
triple agent or some shit. But basically, the end of the episode is Carly, kind of setting up where the GRC is going to have this big vote at, putting their plans in order. Well, Carly, gets the Flag Smashers. They're basically going to delay and stop the vote.
Yeah.
To which point, Sam suits up, and I remember us all be like, "What's in the fucking box?"
Oh yeah, because
what's in the goddamn box?
After Bucky hands him over to Dormilaje, he asks for one more favor from them, which is to basically give Sam a new suit and a new pair of wings,
and include Red Wing, I guess.
Oh yeah, and include Red Wing, I guess.
Bucky, God damn it, I'm gonna regret this.
Oh yeah, I always forget Red Wing even exists because Red Wing in this is just a drone. Yeah. Unlike in the comics where he's an actual fucking bird. Actually, he's a vampire bird. Because Red Wing gets bit by a vampire and it makes him a vampire bird.
Moving on. Because we're already an hour and almost 30. We gotta wrap it up.
Because this episode 6 is so fucking good.
Yeah. So, episode 6, like you said, really a fucking great finale.
Because basically,
absolutely fantastic.
There are Flag Smashers everywhere because there are Flag Smashers working inside the government. And this is where the power broker, Sharon, hires Batroc the fucking Leaper to help Carly because Batroc is like, oh, you're going to kill the Falcon? I want in.
Fucking yelling in French.
Oh, yeah. Je suis à l'heure.
Are you finished?
Baguette.
Sharon had a mom moment for a minute.
I know these movies make Batroc look kind of awesome. I'm sorry, Batroc is such a fucking joke in the comics. He's this
bomb. He reminds me of Bon Voyage from Incredibles.
No. Yeah, he's such a fucking joke. That's why I always say his name is not Batroc the Leaper. It's Batroc the Leaper.
But so we get into, and then my God, Cap like
oh, Sam
Falcon
showing up as
in that
Captain America.
Oh my God, it was fucking great. Because we had speculated what's that suit gonna look like, and then it showed up. And I remember you texting me like, "Oh my God, it's fucking perfect."
No, because it is legitimately just the comic.
It is. I was surprised. I thought they were gonna put some weird fucking spin on it. No, it's straight up. That's what the comic is.
My only complaint with the suit is, I don't think they should have done the face sock thing. I think it should have just been goggles because it looks kind of stiff in the neck for him. That being said, I don't mind it. It looks great. I'm just saying that's my only real complaint is I feel like he looks a little encumbered by it. I could be wrong, and like I said, I love the suit. It's fucking perfect. And then someone's like, Falcon, are you here to save us? He's like, I'm Captain America, and I'm like, yeah, you are. Oh my God, it was so great.
And there's a lot of action in this.
Oh my God.
Like, there's some gruesome deaths in it. Like that, like we mentioned, like that one where Sharon kills that dude with the mercury. And I'm like, oh my God. I remember, I think I told you, I was like, yo, damn, that's a little cold.
I know. You might as well just murder him with a fucking white phosphorus bomb or something.
You could have just shot him?
Yeah, and you get these scenes where like Carly tries to convince Bucky to join her side, and Bucky's like, "No, I'm not."
Yeah, no thanks.
No thanks. And you get like I'm just gonna call him Cap. You get Cap like flying around.
That's what I was gonna do.
Flying around, rescuing rescuing those people that were in the
little birdie told me you got some helicopter training.
And like he throws the dude in the fucking river. Like the scene where he like rescues those people after the helicopter almost crashes into him. Like he uses the wings as a shield. He bounces the shield while flying, or he'll like throw it and then he'll catch up to it. And I was like, oh, it was so good. And then of course Walker shows up with his fucking homemade shield that he made out of fucking
the Home Depot version of the shield.
John Walker made this in a cave with a box of scraps.
Morgenthau! I was like, oh Jesus Christ.
You're gonna make it fucking worse. Which he did.
I didn't mean for your friend to get killed. Lamar's life doesn't matter to you? No, it doesn't. I'm like, that's the wrong thing to say to this motherfucker.
Well, because at this point, Carly's like, I don't care if I fucking die. Because I'm going to be a martyr. Even to the point where, like, the Flag Smashers are like,
okay. Yeah, we'll just kill the hostages then. They're like, wait a minute. What?
We're not terrorists here. Which, I mean...
You guys technically are.
Like, even if you're freedom fighters... You're still technically terrorists. Even the rebels in Star Wars are technically
terrorists. The Patriots
terrorists.
in the American Revolution technically were
terrorists. It's just nowadays we know what that word means. But
yeah, but so anyway, I really think the best part of that episode is we see all the reactions to Sam being Cap now.
Yeah.
From just not only like the civilians.
That's Captain Falcon. Nah, man. That's Captain America.
But even Walker just is like this is right. He has that battle with Carly.
Oh, and that's so great because like
he has to make the choice. Do I go after Carly or do I save these people?
And he looks at the shield, his dented shield, and he throws it down. And it shows why Walker could have been Captain America if he actually
had put his head around
it. And he actually tries to rescue the civilians at first. Which, of course, Carly decides, nah. Or no, actually, Batroc shows up and starts shooting at him.
Yeah.
And Bucky and him try to scramble to save. And then Sam comes in. Now he has 2 Red Wings. And he uses them in his, like, jets to, like, lower the... Or no, I think he pushes the truck back up. And then they free the other hostages. Because at one point, Carly, like, I think lights one of the vans on fire to try and get Bucky to...
Yeah.
Which was great for Bucky, because Bucky's like, no, I gotta rescue these people. And then, like, we get, like,
they say thank you to him. I'm like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right, because Winter Soldier deserves it.
Yeah.
And, like, eventually, the other Flag Smashers, I think Bucky and John work together and take them down.
Yeah.
And then Batroc and Carly get away. Well, Carly gets away, and then Sharon's like, no, fucking kill.
This is where we get this moment. Sharon's the power broker.
Yeah.
So basically just a moment of like, you just had to fuck with me, didn't you?
Yeah. Like, because like, she hired Carly to help be more extra muscle. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure Sharon would have actually probably worked with Carly. But no, Carly's like, I've got the super soldier serum. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Which is really Carly's biggest flaw throughout this whole show, is that she thinks just because she has the power,
She can do whatever she wants.
and
All power, no responsibility.
Yeah. And so then of course Batroc shows up, and Batroc makes it
You're
fucking
going to pay me
worse.
4 times what you promised me. Yeah, no.
No, so she just shoots. Which I will admit, this is kind of my only real complaint with the show, is just how easily both Batroc and Carly are dispatched. Mostly because, like,
Well, and Carly's, I have thoughts on that. But,
well, I mean, I like it, but I just have some.
but that's the super soldiers. It's like, what good is the power? Like, how powerful is the power broker? More than you. I'm like,
Well, because I think who shoots Sharon? Was it her or Batroc?
It's Carly.
It was Carly. Okay, I couldn't remember if it was Carly or Batroc.
Sharon shoots. Does Sharon?
Yeah, okay.
Batroc had the gun trained on Carly. It was basically a Mexican standoff.
Yeah.
on.
Okay.
Carly had the gun trained on Sharon. Sharon had the gun trained on Carly, and then shot Batroc. And Carly shot Sharon.
Okay. I just couldn't remember the order of events, so thank you.
I have near photographic memory, so it helps.
No, I appreciate that, because I've only watched this episode once, so but basically Falcon.
It's harder for me because I realize people are like, I'm like, okay, people aren't like me, and like you see it once and you can remember it pretty well.
No, I remember pretty much everything else. It just when you get into the tunnels, it's kind of shot chaotically, so I kind of need to watch it a couple times in order to get like the.
So then we get this fight scene with Sam and Carly where Carly's like Sam basically makes it clear, I'm not gonna fight you,
and she's pissed at him because he's wearing the Stars and Stripes, because she's like, no,
she
that's
bought
not,
into that bullshit.
Which I'm like,
Maybe I'm trying something new.
maybe I'm trying.
Maybe
something
you should do it too.
And then, like, you get this fight, and like Carly tries to talk to him. He's like, just get out of my way, and just stand down. And Sam just goes, no, because like, I know a lot of people are like, that's all he gets to say. I'm like, that's all he needs to say.
What, did you want him to do the whole stand beside the river of truth monologue?
That's not who Sam is. Like Sam knows that would be what Cap would do. He'd be like, I'm not letting you get away. Like, I'm not moving.
Yeah.
And it's great too, because we get to see that scene where like because she's stronger than him because of the super soldier serum, and so he uses the wings from his flight pack to like embed them into the ground, so he like as if to like brace himself.
Yeah. So it kind of gets to the point where Carly has the upper hand and is kind of probably deliver a pretty serious blow, and then Sharon just
Shoots
empties probably the entire magazine at that point.
Yeah. Which I give Carly credit. She's able to talk with like 5 bullets in her abdomen.
Yeah, like I was counting shots too. I was like, how many rounds does Sharon have left in that mag?
And we get the scene, of course, where Carly's like, I'm sorry, because I feel like at that moment I think like no longer the super soldier. She finally realizes what she did was wrong and apologizes to Sam.
Then we get this scene of fucking Walker and Bucky.
Oh yeah,
like Walker giving the Lincoln quote. I was like, you gotta be shitting me.
And I love Walker, like, Lincoln. It's good.
It's a great quote. Not when you say it.
like damn.
I like how like even Bucky's like, I tolerate
you now.
You did the right thing. I can tolerate
you now. But like, and then of course, like, Sam brings like Carly's body. They take her away.
Was I the only one picking up some Arkham City vibes off that scene?
That was literally the La Pieta. Like
I was watching it. I'm like, am I the only one getting some serious Arkham vibes off of this?
I mean, to be fair, Arkham wasn't even like the first time to do the La Pieta, but and technically
that was the first thing I thought.
Well, technically they stole that from Batman: Death in the Family. But anyway. And then basically the GCR is like, we were wrong to like not make you Cap. Like,
now we can get on with our vote. And Sam's like, yeah, how about no?
No, and we're not going to go into the speech because the speech is great. I like
look it up if you haven't seen it. It's fucking fantastic. If you haven't seen it, why the fuck are you watching this review? But like, watch it.
Yeah,
it is one of the most Cap moments I've ever seen in my life.
And I know, and so many people hated this speech, and I'm like, because it's like, oh, it's because it's political and it's about, and I'm like.
Well, but I like Watchmen. Then you're a dipshit and you missed the whole point.
Also, he's dressed in the American fucking flag. It's gonna be political, guys. Like, even when it's Steve fucking Rogers.
You just don't get it. I'm a black man wearing the stars and stripes. What am I not getting?
He talks about how, like, people are gonna hate me because I'm wearing this outfit on both sides of the, like, and he just is like, no, we have to
We can't expect people to step up and only not meet them halfway.
Yeah, like it works really, really well. Like.
And it drives home a lot of the themes they had touched on throughout the whole series.
Yeah. Because he even states, like, we stopped Carly today. We ain't going to stop Carly 2.0. Like, because, like, my point with the fight with Carly, because the Carly fight don't matter. It's what leads into Sam's speech, and the speech is what really matters about that, was what I was going to basically explain. Like, I get why people were disappointed with that, because you were expecting, like, a big supervillain fight. That's not what the show about. The show's about what Sam was saying. And it just...
Chills.
It was, yeah. And then, of course, we have the wrap-up where Sharon leaves and Bucky kind of goes off.
I kind of zoned out for like half of it. I set the part about Black Men in Stars and Stripes.
which is Bucky's way of saying, like...
Good job.
But, like, basically...
even, like, Sam, he gives that kind of nod to Walker, and Walker's like...
No, which I actually really appreciated, that even Walker's like...
I fucked up. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do better.
Like, for me, I think that was where finally Walker earned his redemption. Like...
Sure, I even told you, I'm okay with him now.
Yeah, like... I'm waiting to see what he does as or as U.S. agent, because... that could go bad.
We're going to need a U.S. agent. Like, she said the line! it's WandaVision all over again. She said the line.
To be fair, though, as much as I think that name's kind of dumb, it
works for this.
And well, then I'm like, it's kind of a good enough pun that you're like, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
but basically, we kind of see everybody go their separate ways again. Sam, of course,
goes to see Isaiah again. And basically, he's like, I want to show you something. Like,
yeah.
And he takes Isaiah and... I can't remember the kid.
Oh, I actually don't know his name, but Patriot.
You're killing me. I know. But anyway, he takes them to the Cap exhibit and shows them this room where there's now a statue of Isaiah. And he mentions, he's like, this way no one will ever forget what you've done for this country.
And then Isaiah, like
man, that actor sold that perfectly.
Like, the actor they picked for Isaiah is a phenomenal actor, and I hope he gets some sort of recognition, because he was
fantastic.
Like
I actually was crying during that.
Yeah, I teared up too. It was like, I'm like, nah, I ain't ever gonna forget you, Isaiah, because you were an actual hero.
Like, even like with me, like it hit me a lot, because I'm a history guy, and I'm like, there's too often a lot of times where that kind of a thing happens.
Yeah.
We look at big events. We kind of forget that there were people with boots on the ground.
Yeah.
That were we kind of look at the whole instead of the individual.
Yeah.
Which I think, in that moment, it was the individual being recognized. I think that was probably what made it a little more, probably even more powerful for me, as a viewer, because I kind of got that context.
Yeah. And as someone who really wanted them to bring up Isaiah, from probably, well, maybe not always the beginning, but as soon as I known who Isaiah was, I always wondered if they would ever think about doing him in the MCU. And this was probably the best way they could have done Isaiah, and it works so well, because it talks about just really showing how powerful Cap's legacy is, and all the people who tried to be Captain America, to the government's attempts at making Captain America. It was just really powerful. I can't really bring it into words. It was just really powerful. So then, of course, after that, we get the scene where Bucky finally tells the old guy about I
killed your
son. And it was really rough, because Bucky just tells him, and then he just leaves, and then he sees him a little bit later in New York with the girl from the first episode he was trying to get
on a date with.
Yeah, the one who whooped his ass at Battleship. And I think we finally see that Bucky's I can finally move on. And then he sends the book about all the people he's trying to make amends to his therapist. And he thanks his therapist.
A little more than that therapist.
Yeah, which is a little more than that therapist fucking deserved. But and then of course we see Sam, going back and
having that cookout.
And then
Uncle Buck gets invited to the cookout.
Yeah. Which, and then he doesn't hit on Sam's sister anymore. Which I'm like, God damn, Bucky. Like I'm like, Bucky been to Wakanda one time. So he's like, I won't make any more of the jokes, but that's all I could think about was I'm like, he shot out with Ayo because he found out Ayo is actually a lesbian, which I'm not making jokes. That's actually canonically that she's actually gay, and then so he's just like, well, I have a type now. Oh, Sam, you have a sister? Well,
told you stop hitting my sister.
Did you know my arm vibrates? But no, and it was so nice, and like you see Sam and Buck actually being friends,
and then we get into that credit and we see the
Falcon
the
and when it's Captain America and the Winter Soldier. I actually screen saved that because I was like,
I remember seeing it on your face when you're like, yes.
Yeah, no, it was the perfect way to end that.
And then our post credit is following up on the promise that Sam had made to Sharon.
Yeah.
Sharon gets a pardon from the government and is offered her a role back in S.H.I.E.L.D. Which leads into her at the end being like, yeah, so super soldiers are off the menu, but we got all kinds of stuff I can sell now.
I'm like, are you gonna fucking sell the Ironmonger armor or some bullshit?
Which it's like, I have a couple theories on that scene.
Okay.
Which after that we'll wrap up because it's gone pretty long. A, Skrull Sharon? Possible. B, Sharon's gonna, this is what I hope it is. Because I don't want to see them make Sharon a villain.
Yeah.
Sharon plays both sides. She's still selling stuff, but she's selling kind of the shit that's either outdated or is really clunky and doesn't really work.
Which actually
that
makes
well.
me think she might actually be the one responsible for the armor wars. Because in the comics it's Justin Hammer, but after 2, Hammer no longer. Iron Man 2, Hammer's no longer in business, so obviously they're gonna have to have someone else be.
Yeah.
So
I hope that's the case because I don't want to see them make a villain out of Sharon.
I like to hope that too, and I kind of
the Peggy Carter stands are already fucking mad at her enough as it is.
Yeah, I also really don't hope that she's just a Skrull because as much as I wouldn't mind them being like, no, it's a Skrull. I'm like, after Secret Invasion, the comic, I got so tired of being like, oh, it's a Skrull. I'm like, please no. Because I'm already looking forward to Secret Invasion because I'm like, oh god, who's a Skrull and who's not a fucking Skrull? At least here they're not gonna retcon shit that doesn't need to be retcon like the Secret Invasion did. Oh, Jessica, Spider-Woman, she's actually the queen of the Skrulls and has been the Skrull queen for years. Jarvis is a Skrull.
I don't want to talk about it. That was a stupid fucking comic.
Especially because they didn't do the retcons that they should have fucking done. Oh, Spider-Man and Mary Jane didn't actually get their marriage erased. Those were Skrulls.
Well, that wasn't going to happen because Dan Quesadilla
Well, I know Dan Quesadilla wasn't going to fucking do it.
Yeah, Joe Quesadilla decided, no, that's not happening.
Yeah.
I almost said Dan Dia. I was like, yeah, him and Joe Quesadilla are pretty shitty. Pretty equal planes of shit.
They're the reason why DC and Marvel don't play nice together anymore.
Yeah. And so overall, my rating on this show, this might be a first for me on this show.
Well, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, to be fair, we both rated
so it's
it
probably my second, but still, it's a rare.
Especially for newer stuff, definitely rarer.
I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10.
I'm gonna also give it a 10 out of 10 because it was fucking great.
It was fantastic. Loved it.
No, it
took everything I liked about WandaVision and amped it.
Yeah. We actually got a budget, and
the writing, excellent.
Yeah, if you're a Cap guy, this is just more of the same except Steve's
what you wanted.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. This is what I wanted. I wanted to see Sam and Bucky kicking some ass, Sam becoming Captain America, or Bucky becoming Captain America, because I like both of them as Captain America. You know what? If you like it, say fuck it. They're both Captain America. Anybody can be Captain America, except John Walker. Love you, John, but no.
John's fair.
And not only just legitimately, if you love the first 3 Cap films, you will love this because it is again more of the same.
And on the same day they announced, the pilot aired, finale aired, they're like, Cap 4 is in production.
Yeah. So you need to see this if you want to see Cap 4, which I'm excited for because we get to have Sam in his own fucking movie as Captain fucking America. Like, what's not to love? You know, and once again, like, it doesn't do like needless amounts of setup.
Only it felt like a comprehensive movie.
Yeah,
just a little longer.
Only real complaint is I wish we had like another episode or two. I feel kind of odd that like WandaVision got 9 and this got 6. Because I feel like this would have been less. You'd have to sell. So like, why not do a couple more episodes? But what we got was great. So you know, like I said, my only real complaints are just it was a little too short, and also just when you go into the last fight, you might kind of be like, well, that was kind of it. But then like that, it's really not about the fight. It's about the big speech. Oh yeah, we forgot to talk about how like Zemo's butler just fucking murders the rest of the Flag Smashers with a fucking car bomb. Like, holy shit.
Which we actually see the raft.
Yeah. Which I legitimately thought the Dora Milaje were just blowing smoke up Bucky's ass and they were just gonna murder Zemo. Oh, you're not going to the raft.
You're going to hell.
You're going to hell. It's like in the Superman Shazam book when Billy sends the one guy to the Wizards of Shazam. He's like, I'll put him below the Rock of Eternity. No, you're not going to below the Rock of Eternity. You're going to get the Glock of Eternity. But yeah, overall, like I think this was really solid. I'm just really sad that we're going to have to wait until like what, June for Loki?
I think a week after my birthday.
Yeah, it's like
because my birthday is June 25th. So.
Which that's already going to be packed given what we're doing for your birthday month. So
I guess we'll go ahead and announce it. June for my birthday month, we're going to look at all the Fox X-Men movies.
It's just going to be fucking sure to get through all of them, especially because like I'm going to have to borrow some of those off of you because I'm not an X-Men.
I have almost all of them.
Yeah, I'm not an X-Men guy, so I don't own any of them. Except for the Deadpool movies, which we're not doing because
you gotta watch both cuts of Days of Future Past.
You can watch both.
Listen, that's at least a good enough movie to watch both cuts.
I mean,
it's
not
like Electra, where like watch both
it is,
cuts.
but we gotta get through these in like a month.
I need a
month and a half.
Wednesday, I'm gonna bring them in. I'm gonna learn what I have because I just need to go home and do it tonight and dig them out.
But anyway, we don't need to talk about what our plans are for this. Anyway, guys, look forward to what we got coming up. This is probably going to come out next and kind of bump some of the other stuff we've got coming out. Mostly because this is kind of...
I think we only have like 2 episodes between the most recent one that's out right now.
Oh, shit.
And this one. We have...
Yeah, okay.
We have those 2, and I think that's
it. I'll start brainstorming. When you come back Wednesday, we'll start brainstorming some episodes we need to do before we get to June.
Time to review this shitty Doctor Strange movie.
Okay, first of all, one of them is going to be the Armor Wars book, so we can finally get those.
Second of all, fuck
you. But anyway, guys, look forward to what we got coming next. We got some stuff coming down the line I think you're going to like. Also, if you're disappointed we're not going to be talking more about Cap stuff, look forward to July is all I'm going to say. But until then, guys, I'm Zangetsu134.
And I'm Average Joe Squad.
And as always, we ask you,
remember the hyphen?
And take care.